On tonight, of course, live on Eurosport and on Quest. Right, it's the first of 6 for a place in that final. Let's hand over to our commentators for this one. Neil Foulds is alongside Philip Studd. Philip, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to everyone here in Barnsley. What an occasion, a ranking semi-final. What an occasion for this young man, Alexander Ursenbacher, who'd never been past the round of 32 in a ranking event before arriving in Barnsley. Now, he's 6 frames away, potentially, from a first-ranking final. But he's up against a player who knows how to win. A former Shanghai Masters champion, Kyren Wilson. He's been in a major final already this season as well. And he's one of those players, Neil, I think, who is a big occasion player. He has the ability to raise his game the higher the stakes are.
Yes, I'd agree with you, Philip. And one thing was the feature of his win yesterday, which wasn't a classic against Hussein Vafai, but he knocked in a lot of long balls. And he was aggressive where he needed to be, as if it was a conscious effort to be so. I'll tell you what, he has cue power as well. Hitting the ball hard with accuracy. Ball in the back of the pocket, echoed around
6.
The Metrodome there on that blue. But it still didn't quite go far enough. There is a red just slightly below the pink, which pots. But as a rest shot, it would not be an easy one. There it is. He needs a cue ball to run.
7.
And that is absolutely inch perfect. It's very well played.
One thing that I think Wilson has improved in his game is his ability to score heavily given the opportunity. He's already made 14 centuries this season. That's only 2 less than he made in the whole of the last season.
Yes, and I think shot selection comes into that. The shot on the blue to screw back with reverse right-hand side down the awkward red, I think proved the point. Overhit that one, I feel. He could have played it a little more gently and held for the red sticking out here.
But
that was actually a mistake to hit that red half ball on that side. That's where that extra little bit of break building skill will assist any player. So a promising start. He didn't go for that. He never passed the black.
Kyren Wilson, 20.
An argument, though, that he could have made a few more there.
Two tremendous performances from Ursenbacher to get to his first semi-final in a ranking event. He beat Sean Murphy 4-1, and Murphy had been in tremendous form going into that match and said afterwards, well, there's not much you can do when your opponent doesn't miss. And then, of course, the whitewash over Michael White last evening.
Yes, and I think that whitewash was, well, a bit surprising to me. Not because I doubted his ability, but that was, for Alexander Ursenbacher, a very big occasion. Interestingly, he didn't play on the match table there because only one of the matches of the 4 was played on the secondary table, so this is his actual first time playing in the arena on his own. Not saying it makes a difference, but it's not quite so much of an ordeal. Now, if that goes in, I'll say it's a fluke. I can't believe he went for that pot. See if he raised his hand at all. Well, nothing. Can't believe he played it when in dead weight. If he played that shot, he's a good player. And if he fluked it, he doesn't apologise for his flukes. One of the two is correct.
Alexander Ursenbacher, 1.
But there seems to be a little bit of determination. I was interesting interview with Phil Yates there, where he's just on a roll, and saying that can make anyone a very dangerous snooker player. At 21, he's open to improvement. He's open to learning new things. It's too narrow for that red. He'll get another try at this unless something's potable.
The miss. Alexander Ursenbacher, 4.
Ursenbacher will probably have a look towards reds around the middle pocket and ultimately may have it put back. There is that red on the black spot, which he could go for, but it's kind of leading him into the path of the unknown. In other words, he goes into reds with no real guarantees of anything coming out of it. Needs to be lucky here. Well, I like his style. I like the way that he...
1.
It would have been very easy for him to have the balls replaced, but he feels confident in his own abilities to do under his own steam. Next colour's interesting. How's he going to get on one? I mean, if he plays on the black down the rail, it's okay with the red next to it, but it's got to be pinpoint accuracy. That would certainly set the ball rolling as far as this break is concerned. I think he's on the pink in the middle. It's a fine shot to get on that. Very well played. I noticed Ronnie O'Sullivan is no doubt in his hotel preparing for this evening, but he's put a tweet up which says he loves this Swiss guy and he's great for snooker. So that's Ronnie O'Sullivan, great ambassador for the game, encouraging of the new talent. Might have to play him in the final tomorrow. That's always a possibility, so he won't be loving that. But his admiration for him, no doubt, will still apply, but he'll be looking to end it there, should it happen.
12. $18. $90.
It's good stuff. He's on the red, but not perfectly. Either
25.
red that he takes into corner pockets play with a very straight front arm here to avoid the red that he's queuing close to.
26.
Now, this is industrious break making so far with high value colours. The premium, only the pink available. So at the moment, and it's early days, he's almost continuing where he left off against Michael White yesterday, when every time I looked across, he was in amongst the reds, scoring
32.
heavily.
$33.
We need to do quite a bit more still here. And, well, it all stems back really from the thin red that Ursenbacher potted, which I don't, in my heart, believe he played. I'll stand corrected on that if that's the case. I think it was a fluke, but either way, since then, no fluke about this.
Fault.
Very thin red. I mean, I can't believe he played it. Anyway, he's continuing.
Especially given that he didn't even look at the pocket. He was focused
46.
entirely on where the cue ball was going to end up.
Yeah, absolutely. He just overhit that pink a moment ago.
Well, it could just be that he's entirely in the zone right from the get-go here. He's a very likeable
47.
fellow, and I can't imagine that he wouldn't ordinarily hold his hand up if he did fluke a ball. Certainly the break he's made since that opening red would suggest he's very focused.
Well, he's hit that one ever so well, and he deserves to be on a red. That cue ball
49.
rocketed back down the table. And his lead is getting very sizable here. He'll still need 2 of the remaining 3 reds to make the frame safe. This is just the start he wanted, though. This is a sort of dream start, because he's done everything that he would have expected to do. He's got to finish it off now. But really, I think we're seeing a young talent emerging in the space of a week. And that can happen to young players. They can improve out of all recognition in any sport.
It's great for the European game, isn't it? We've seen Luca Brissell make his breakthrough this season with his first ranking title.
Tell you what else, Philip, he's some rest player. I mean, he's knocked in a few queuing shots with the rest that you'd do well to pop without the rest. That's the first thing I've noticed. He's not the tallest,
63.
and usually that's the case with players who need the rest more often. But I wouldn't be worried about him playing any shot with the rest from what I've seen,
64.
or without. This is an absolutely stunning opening frame that he's put together here. Well done. He's won it.
An outstanding break of 64. Such a confident break, and he struck the ball so beautifully. Kyren Wilson knows he's got a battle on his hands here, but he is a warrior. He trails, though, by a frame to nil. 64 break from Ursenbacher. From the Barnsley Metrodome, a break of 64. A clinical break from Switzerland's Alexander Ursenbacher. Doesn't look remotely fazed by the prospect of his first ever ranking semi-final. And that's not a great break-off from Wilson.
The Wilson break-off. Wow. Not good enough. And you feel that he's already been put on the back foot here. We're not playing best of sevens anymore, or even 9. It's longer to get a player going. But often a player who's in fairly new territory can freeze up early and start to play well when the match is over. That's certainly not going to be happening here. It's an outstanding break, 64. No century or anything, but just the way that he took them, brimming with confidence. I don't know why we're surprised, really, when we think that Luca Bressel, who we know more about, clearly, the Belgian, has won his first ranking event this year. We shouldn't be surprised, because every time we go to any parts of Europe, we see the great interest in the game. In Germany, who have in Lucas Kleck as a tour player now, it's absolutely a complete love of snooker. So one thing you can guarantee is you're going to see more and more of this, players coming through. European players from countries otherwise not associated with the game.
7.
Maybe Lucas Kleckers will be the next one to put his hand up and make it big. And he's just hit that one. A little bit too much of an adrenaline rush there, I think. Played it with left-hand side and
12.
He's overcooked it by some way. So he's probably now got to just walk away from this, play the safety shot on the red that he played on. Well, that's a shocker. Well, just play the obvious shots in an obvious way. Don't get too clever.
Ursenbacher, 12.
That's not a good shot by any stretch, and you can see how he feels about it. Basic up and down safety shot you'll ever see. And lucky to get away with it, actually. And as Phil Yates mentioned when he spoke with Kyren, only a Swiss player, but in the previous round, Kyren Wilson beat Sain Vathai from Iran, so it's a global game. You still feel that the UK players have got the best of it, but I don't know for how many more years that'll be the case. That's got to be good. That's all anyone can do. Put your opponent down the other end of the table. See if you can get him to wear the carpet out at that end of the table. It means he's playing all his shots from there and he can't pot them himself. But that's a very good comeback. If he plays thin off this red, he's got to avoid firstly the black and then the pink on the way back up the table. And indeed the red. Now at the moment, Ursenbacher is winning every battle against that man. Potting, scoring, and indeed safety. Can he punish?
There are inevitably bumps in the road when you're a fledgling professional. Ursenbacher originally turned pro back in 2013. He did fall off the tour. Got back on, courtesy of winning the European Under-21 Championship this year.
8.
Yes, and the European Under-21 didn't used to really mean a great deal, but with the influx of talent, as I'm saying, from various different parts of Europe, got to be a good player to win that now. He's just occasionally slightly overhitting shots. He's on one quite comfortably.
60.
But you feel that, hey, he's quite excited out there and he's really loving the atmosphere. This table might be marginally more responsive than the others that he's been playing on. A lot of his matches have been over when there was a back row of 5 tables where there aren't too many people watching. Now we're down to the spotlight of just 1 table. And it's very quick.
This is an early tester in frame 2. Didn't he cue that well?
It's a beautiful shot, Philip. I mean, not only the pot, but he's decided to go into the bunch. Wow. I really like what I see here.
22.
Terrific action on the cue ball, and clearly he was doing damage. Had he missed that blue, he never considered the possibility of missing it.
$23.
Again, just fractionally overcooked that. Went a bit too far. And of course, he's on the red to the left corner. I wonder, does the black pop to the right? That's the key here. If it does, it really makes a huge difference. Apparently, the way he looked at it, it does go. Yep.
29.
Could have done with being a fraction straighter on it, actually. When respotted, it will also go, because I believe it was actually on the spot last time.
36.
Played around 2 cushions, didn't want to drop it in and finish close to the black. Whichever way he's playing the shots, he's doing it in such a positive way. John Higgins has beaten him 5-0 and 4-0 in recent weeks, so they're looking extremely good wins for the Wizard, aren't they? From what we're seeing here. I watched one of those and he didn't get too many chances. But he obviously looked at that and thought, well, this is how good I need to be a champion, and immediately he's responded.
Quick look at the scoreboard.
52.
He is so focused.
53.
Swiss accuracy at its best, this.
Oh, I like it. Bit more than Joe Johnson's watch the other morning. He was late 15 minutes because it had stopped, which is true, isn't it?
I don't know whether it was the watch that stopped or just Johnson. Well, this is mighty impressive. It really is. I mean, let's remember the occasion.
6th.
A ranking semi-final. The possibility of playing Ronnie O'Sullivan being the prize today.
61.
For a guy who is still very wet behind the ears as a professional, really. And he is thoroughly embracing the occasion and the opportunity at the moment.
$68. 69.
This must be just a little scary for Kyren Wilson, who's not done a great deal wrong.
76.
Loose break-off in this frame, although that wasn't punished to the full, but nothing you can do from your chair.
And when he came to the table, Philip, I didn't really think that he was in a position to win the frame at that visit.
84.
He'd won the safety duel. He'd forced a mistake out of Kyren, which was trying to get back up the table. Anyway, that doesn't matter. It's all over this frame.
A brilliant break to follow up with that opening salvo of 64-84 this time. From the world number 91, lest we forget. Alexander Ursenbacher doubles his lead, 2-0. Bright, and this guy is the epitome of that. Alex Ursenbacher, 21 years of age.
Thank you, the third frame.
And he has made a blistering start to his first ever ranking semi-final appearance against Kyren Wilson, a proven winner at the highest level. Twice a World Championship quarter-finalist, breaks of 64 and 84. And Ursenbacher, Neil, hasn't yet missed a ball in this match that matters. Yes, he's missed 2, but that was after the frames had been won.
Absolutely right. Pot success is 96%. So he's played, basically he's potted 48 of the 50 balls, and you're absolutely right in that they've both been when the frame is totally dead. Kyren Wilson 6 out of 6, but spent more time sitting down watching. It's been a very good first 2 frames. Oh, and that's a stunning long pot as well.
1.
Especially given how he's been frozen out to this point. Bit unlucky not to get position with that red.
Now, what is he playing here? What is he doing? Is he going for this brown? Well, I cannot have that shot. I mean, I know that rolling up behind the colour is probably not going to get him much, but it gets him the table advantage. Why would you present a chance like that? You have to respect your opponent in that he's playing too well for you to go to totally non-percentage shots. I guess if it goes in, we say well played, but I didn't fancy him for it much.
It was certainly a positive shot choice, wasn't it? Maybe he feels the need to try and pull rank on this guy. He is, after all, the hot favourite coming in.
Well, I admired the way he played yesterday. At times he did take on shots. Occasionally we've all been guilty of taking on one too many. Whether he is punished for it remains to be seen. He's not finished all that well on a red here.
4.
That's Barry start. He don't know what he thought of that shot. He occasionally raises an eyebrow. That's about all you get from Barry. Well, if he plays to screw this in off the bunch, it's a very brave shot. I wouldn't be backing against him the way that he's hitting them. But it's tough. Oh, tremendous. Tremendous. Hit it too well. And as a consequence, that cue ball is nailed to the cushion. I know it sounds an odd thing to say, hit it too well, but any snooker player would know what I meant. He just struck it to perfection. And that shot.
5.
Yeah, that was harder than he made it look. Always tough to judge the pace of those, particularly on these superfine cloths.
A miss. Alexander Ursenbacher, 4.
Greg Caniglio, our referee for our first semi-final today.
Bit closer.
I think he's going to probably play the same sort of shot anyway.
Okay.
So I don't suppose it makes a great deal of difference as long as he can get to the same shot. That's where they were. Oh, that's absolutely bang on. In saying it was closer, is clearly Kyren not doing himself any favours.
Okay.
Well, I think we've probably established it was bang on. It's just got to be careful because he was very close to hitting the black as well here. It just fell short of both red and black. Been a lot of talk recently about 128 players being a few too many on the tour. But this is an argument that they shouldn't be cut to 96 or 64, isn't it? The way that Ursenbacher's played here, he's getting the opportunity and he's taking it. Getting himself some money, some points, and he's taking his career forward.
Guaranteed a cheque for £20,000 and the 20,000 ranking points that go with it. When you're down in the 90s, that means you're propelled up the rankings. And of course, the way he started, it could get a whole lot better than that before the weekend's out.
Yes, his ranking of 91 is basically, it's his first year on the tour, isn't it? As a new professional, because he's been on it before, so then you've got this year's points to go by. He's going to not be at 91 for very long, and this is taking him up a lot of places, leapfrogged a number of players already with this performance. There's a mistake, a rare one. Safety shot hit too hard and too thin. Well, Kyren's got to do something here. He's got to get some kind of a foothold into the match where he can. So, at the moment, the table, well, it's not ideal. High-value colours on their spots, but black's surrounded by reds. You can't get anywhere near it as it stands.
Eight.
Well, this will help him because getting rid of that red below the black is sure to do some sort of damage. Certainly
40.
the red or the black will be gone into here. Yes, very nice.
50.
Now that has opened things up. A little plan ahead there, a couple of shots ago. And here he might disturb the other two reds as well. pretty good. Not perfect cueing for the next shot, but he's certainly tidying up the table.
22.
There's another rare old implement been produced from under the table, the swan neck. You get this one about, I think, once a tournament. Swan neck turns up. Helps you get some serious elevation above the reds. It's all right, that's fine. Got an angle on the black.
23. First. $31.
Strange that Wilson actually forgot that these two had played before. It was 3 years ago at the Wuxi Classic, Ding Junhui's home tournament. Ursenbacher winning
38.
by the odd frame.
Respawn.
But he certainly knows how good his opponent is now, so this is a timely response.
It is. And it's nice for the black to be respotted there. Didn't think it was quite put onto the spot as it should have been.
39.
Here's an angle to go into the little bunch of 5 reds. Well, that's all right. They've not turned out a lot worse. Got a backup red now over a pocket. He's got to
46.
put all his attention in his red to the middle pocket here. Play with screw and right hand reverse side there. Take the cue ball down the table.
52. $53.
Difference is 45. 4 reds left, so 59 remains. He's getting there. Needs another red after this next colour. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed the first 3 frames. Standard has been excellent. And he felt that Kyren Wilson had certainly had to pull out a little
59.
bit extra here to even get the frame on the board. Goes against the seeding positions they're in.
So Wilson is going to get off the mark here. He's taken these exceptionally well.
Yeah, he just made the one strange shot selection, the brown, which still sits down by the left
66.
corner from when Kyren missed it earlier in the frame. And it didn't cost him. Seemed one shot too many at the time.
67.
But, hey, this has been a very good break so far. Took that brown ball there so that if he was going to make a century, the path to the left corner is clear for the red just
71.
sitting on the cushion. $
72.
That's Very well played. Really good shot, that. Gave him such an easy way to get onto the final red.
77.
No century, but that was an excellent riposte from Kyren Wilson to the opening blitz from Alex Ursenbacher. And this is snooker at the very highest quality at the start of our first English Open semi-final. Ursenbacher now leading 2-1. Final, a very high standard being produced by these two players. Alex Ursenbacher, ranked at 91 in the world, playing a long way above that level in the first two frames, breaks at 64 and 84. Kyren Wilson, a ranking event winner and finalist this year as well, with a 77.
Didn't look like he had the right shape on it, that attempted thin safety. I think he caught it a bit thin. Whatever it was, thick or thin, he certainly didn't want to come anywhere near the blue on the way back. Not an easy starter, though. Kyren is another one that's very good with the rest. That sort of loopy way of hitting the ball with the rest.
1.
Loops the cue up and down.
Snooker loopy.
Kind of. It's just the way that he does it. Got an unusual technique with the rest. You might even notice it here. He's playing it slightly differently, though. Cue goes up and down. The ball goes into the pocket most of the time. It's all that counts.
Did you have anything to do with that slice of pop heaven back in the
8.
day, Neil? The old snooker loopy?
No. And that's my final word on the matter.
It was a top 10 hit, you know. I think the follow-up, the Romford Rap, did less well.
I had some involvement in that.
No wonder you're staying
Peaked at
silent.
about 184. That's probably too high. Well, he's given himself a wonderful chance here already.
50. $60.
I think the other thing to say this week, and we should mention it, it's only right and fair, is that the tables have been absolutely superb. And that's why we're seeing such high standard of play in general. We've seen the 147, various other big breaks. And table manufacturers do get criticism on occasions when conditions let everybody down, but this week I haven't heard one complaint. So it's worth mentioning that.
22. $23. $30. 31.
Now, he held the spot earlier on to keep all on the pink spot so he could get to the red. Pretty much guessing this will go up on the pink spot now. I think it's 3. Made it a little short of pace. Another rest shot coming up. He'll play to run it through, no doubt. I don't see what else he can do here. He just about got sensible striking. You can see his rest technique here. And it's pretty sound, isn't it?
Okay. 37.
If you go back to the bygone era, you know, hardly anyone liked using the rest. And I think the first brilliant rest player was Jimmy White. Before that, it was almost a chore for players that play shots with their opposite hand, anything to avoid it. Another part of the game that's improved dramatically.
$44. 45. $50. $51.
Well, he's high on the pink from the blue spot, but the next red is not so easy to get on as he plays on one of the 2 reds near a cushion. Going around 2 cushions and he got too much stun on it.
Kyren Wilson, 51.
There was an argument maybe to play
Ursenbacher, 6.
one of the loose ones, and it is a natural shot. It looked a bit suspiciously. Ultimately, instead of playing it with topspin, there was a bit of stun involved and the cue ball went wider. Rise again to the break. Up until then, he'd done nothing wrong.
So a 45-point lead for Wilson, but still 75. Make it 83 on the table.
May have felt it was worth the risk. The only red he felt he could leave would have been the one he played, although the red did head into the little cluster. I think both of these two are mostly attacking, aren't they? They can play safe, but if in doubt, they'll have a go. That is a very, very poor shot. That was avoidable, leaving that red over the middle.
One.
And that kiss is not bad. Now, this really is the biggest test for Alexander in the match so far.
This would be some frame to steal, wouldn't it? After Wilson's 51 break, it was looking as though it was going to be on as even at the mid-session interval. It may still be, but this is a chance to get back in the frame for the Swiss.
8.
Yes, and he's going into the 4 reds here. Now he's just got to work out how to do it for the best. There's always a bit of luck required, and I'm afraid he hasn't had a great deal there. but I think he gave it every chance to succeed. You know, he went
50.
through them properly. On a different day, he'd have been on a red there. Well, unless he decides to try for an optimistic double. Or a cut to the corner, or the middle rather. And he might be thinking about the safety shot.
Alexander Ursenbacher, 50.
I think it was a tough one.
Nothing straightforward for Wilson, though. 30 in front now with 67 remaining. Pushing a red safe. Oh, my word. Pick that one out. Wow. What a pot.
Yes, stunning pot. I don't know where his cue ball is. He's got to play it with his hand on the bolt cushion. First class. He's a dangerous player. I mean, this is the point. The new brigade of young talent. That's not really been a new thing, but anyone of a certain age tend to be attacking, play their shots, take their risks. Occasionally, it might be one too many.
4.
Ultimately, the game's never changed. You go for what you think you can get, or you probably will get more than you miss. And otherwise, if it's the other way, you have to play safe. Didn't know a great deal about that. Could have played on the red down the cushion, but of course, they don't like doing that, these players. They're not easy down the rail. I don't think he can get centre ball striking. He's playing this with left-hand check, which makes the pot more difficult. But not too much is difficult to him right now.
Well,
better shot than it looked, I feel. He couldn't hit centre ball striking. He saw the cue ball almost stop when it hit the cushion. He had check side on it.
foul. Alexander Ursenbacher, 12. Kyren Wilson, 4.
Again, as I say, it's easy afterwards. I mean, he could have touched into the pink there and left the snooker, but I guess he felt that with 2 red safe, he was never really going to gain much of an advantage. So there was no obvious safety that was going to really benefit him there. Still up for grabs, his frame.
perilously close to making the pot. Still a lot of snooker left in this fourth frame before the interval. Wilson's going to need both reds.
Yes, and it's the first frame that's been anywhere near close, isn't it? These are the ones that mean a lot. Both players now think they're really having to think about this. It is, as you say, a huge difference coming up to the mid-session break, whether Wilson can get to all square. I mean, a lot to him, actually. I feel Ursenbacher is really trying to force the issue and really trying to stamp some authority on the game and stay positive. In some ways, these two are quite similar in their approach to what they're trying to do.
It was interesting when speaking to Phil Yates ahead of this match that Wilson said that he felt frustrated this season when he had lost matches. He was expected to win against much lower ranked players, that he found it tough when certain opponents were ultra defensive against him. He prefers the attacking style. He certainly got that today, but how expensive is that error going to be?
Well, possibly very. Now, when he puts the cue ball in the D, I wonder if he's going to try and find a way of potting this red and running through and getting the other one out. There's no excuse for not playing it. Whether he gets it's another matter, because often you don't play a cannon onto a red with another red. But he's got the black over the pocket, the green near the pocket. He should be on something if he gets this shot right. I think he has to try. That's a very fine shot, and certainly worth the gamble.
Could it be a frame-winning shot? There's nothing safe.
Nine. Eleven. 30. $60. Alexander Ursenbacher, 16. Okay. Ball. Nine. 15, round the frame. Kyren Wilson.
Join our commentary team, Phil Studd and Neil Folds.
Well, it was a great mini session before the interval. Shame we had the power cut, but there's always something in snooker, isn't there? Always a bit of drama. And we've had plenty of on-table drama so far. That was a really significant fourth frame, I think, which Alex Ursenbacher might have won. And Kyren Wilson will be delighted to have pinched in the end, having looked as though he might fall 3-1 behind, having been 51 in front in that fourth frame. So all to play for. We're back to the best of sevens again, Neil. Effectively, first to six today, of course, 2 apiece.
Very enjoyable four frames, as you say, and it's strange how you can be level, but you can be more happy than your opponent, and Kyren will be feeling that, I think, psychologically, but numbers, well, everything's still to play for it, 2-all. Sometimes you can get a best of 11 in the first 4 frames a little flat because you know that you've got a lot of snooker to play after you take the 15-minute break, which we've just done. But those 4 frames were just quite intense, I felt. Very watchable.
64 and 84 from Ursenbacher, 77 and 51 from Wilson.
Well, he'd been putting a lot of balls with the rest, but he's missed that by a long way, and he's immediately gifted a chance to Kyren. Yes, it didn't really threaten the pocket at all, that one. So again, lots of things to cope with in top-class snooker, not only your concentration, but from the mid-session interval, when you come back out there, having spoken to who it is you spend those 15 minutes with, or if not on your own, you've got to come back pumped up as you do at the start of the match. And neither player has quite got the same intensity as they had at the start. Just on that point, of course, when you think about the World Championships, you get the semi-finals and final over 4 sessions with the 15 minutes break in between those. You keep having to come out all guns blazing, session after session after session. For 2.5 weeks. That's why it's so difficult to win. Players are just suffering from just one concentration lapse here.
Clive Everton, our commentary colleague, described the Crucible as a marathon of the mind, which I think is an apt description. Got to last the full 17 days to go all the way, of course.
8.
And though snooker may not be a physically demanding game, mentally it's about as demanding as it gets.
Well, the respotting of the black has left him not on the red. I don't think that he wanted to play. Got one to the middle. One by the pink, probably.
No.
I wondered actually if he might have played further down for the blue, but of course he wouldn't have wanted to be straight on it. And he's got, there are enough scoring options available to him without the blue being on its spot, I suppose. It's all right. He's on the other red.
11.
Overrun, I think, slightly for the one he might have played on. A little stun across. He can get onto the black into the same pocket here if he wishes.
90. 20.
He's very compact in his style. Actually, a brief chat with Ronnie O'Sullivan last night after his match victory in Jack Lazowski, and he was saying he was looking over at Ursenbacher and he was very impressed. He put a tweet out to that effect today, but he did say something which I can totally understand. I agree with that. He said he's almost not so much, not many things that can go wrong, but it's not a complicated cue action. Some players have got these complex different movements. With him, it's almost see ball, pop ball.
He's got a nice pace around the table as well, hasn't he? Averaging 22 seconds per shot.
36.
And when he's in amongst them, it's brisker than that.
Again, he's sport for choice here. So many reds he could land on.
43. 44. 50. 51.
Our fifth frame, our fifth 50-plus break.
Yes, he seems to have made this break pretty swiftly.
58. 59.
5 minutes plus. Obviously, we've seen Ronnie O'Sullivan make a 147 during that time, but it feels like he's not hanging around. A few shots to think about early on. And he's almost at the point where the frame is going to be his.
65.
So it's this black ball, and that's all really. Another red, of course, will
66.
sign and seal the deal on this fifth frame. But as you were, both players came out and missed one. A shot each after the mid-session break. Kyren latterly so, but
74.
Alex Ursenbacher still playing with a lot of confidence here.
And not showing any frustrations from his failure to pinch the fourth frame.
81. 82.
A little surprised that went in, but it's fairly academic as far as the frame is concerned.
Shame, just run past his intended red, I think.
89.
Well, he might have to pop that one up into the top right pocket. It would be shot of the season, I think. Close.
89.
Another terrific break, though, from this very exciting young Swiss player, Alexander Ursenbacher. 89. He's back in front in this terrific semi-final here in Barnsley. He leads 3-2. Again, another excellent break from Alexander Ursenbacher of 89. The first to 6, of course, for a place in tomorrow's final. and a meeting with either Ronnie O'Sullivan or Anthony McGill. They're in action this evening. That promises to be another cracker from 7 o'clock.
Yes, in playing safe off of the red that he did, he's actually opened the black up to somebody, either he or Kyren, so it's potentially going to be an open frame once again, and they've all been good like that. None of the frames have seen too many high-value colours go on cushions. And it's, of course, when you get the long frames. We had one yesterday. After, I think, 59 minutes. Felt like longer, and that was Neil Robertson and Anthony McGill. No damage there. As attacking as these two players are, you have to play a fairly telling safety shot if you can. Priority will always be cue ball up underneath that bolt cushion. Gone a little too firmly. So he hasn't really pressurised Kyren Wilson. Got a similar sort of a shot to play off the same side of the bunch, albeit in and out towards bulk. That looks a good shot to me. That looks like it might be fairly troublesome. Red above the black he can get to, but there seems to be a lot of obstacles in his way. He's done very well to avoid hitting anything there. One of these situations where Kyren's definitely got a long red to the left corner. No one's going to tell me it's easy. But it might be easier than any safety shot that he's got. So, nothing worse than playing a complicated safety shot and messing it up and leaving your opponent in. You might as well take on a pot and see if you can get your break going yourself. And I've seen him knock in quite a few this week. I suspect he has to play this red.
Yeah. Thank you.
Second one from the left into the left corner. Cue ball coming across the table somewhat, not necessarily on anything. Now looking at where the keyboard might go. I don't think he really fancies it very much, but sometimes you have to make yourself play the shot. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And he didn't know where the keyboard finished, but he deserves to be on a colour. He has been knocking in some tremendous balls this week. Right, it wasn't what he played. He actually hit the pink first here. That's why the keyboard just turned left. He's got one, but it's not the red he was on, or wanted to be on. Can miss this if he's not careful. Good striking.
Set.
Oh, what a chance this is. Everything's at his mercy. Black is available. I don't know what happens if he does pot the black, and now Kyren's looking at the black spot if the red's covering it. That'll be his next concern. Once again, he's having a little look. I think the red is just about plonked on top of the black spot, it seems.
$30.
We'll certainly know in a minute because it's going to be respotted. If the black spot isn't available, it'll go up onto the pink. And it's a tight one for Greg Caniglio with his ball marker. I think he'd rather it up there for now.
20.
Out of harm's way and available.
$21.
Yeah, the auditorium's been a little bit noisy in the last couple of minutes. And Wilson doesn't want his concentration disturbed here. Very important opportunity this to draw level again.
$28. $29. $36.
I don't think he really wants to pop the pink at any point. He'll go in behind the black spot and tie the pair of them up. Going behind his own spot where the black is, I should say.
37.
Well, certainly make him feel better if he could shift the red away from the black spot now, and then he can play the pink.
42.
There's a bit more freedom. So,
43.
this time the black will be back onto its rightful position.
Fifty. $51.
No, it's got like the cue ball travel here, playing a bulk colour. But if he gets anywhere, somewhere down from where the blue is, he's got about 5 reds to choose from. Yeah, no worries at all.
53. $54. $59.
Couple more reds should make the frame safe for Wilson.
Sixth.
And of course, this break was launched by that quite brilliant long pot on the red. Very, very
65.
difficult. A pot that, in an ideal world, he would rather have not taken on, but having bitten the bullet, my goodness.
66.
Did he make it pay? Here it is.
Yes, and the thing about the shot, as we're saying, is he didn't want to take it on for the points he raised. He had no other shot. Sometimes you have to go for a pot that you can't see a safety. And he got a little lucky, but he deserved it. He landed on
72.
the blue, and he's not stopped since. Frame's over.
Yeah, the red to right centre was also excellent cueing, wasn't it? Cue ball close to the cushion. Missable. And had he done so, Ursenbacher might have been in for this kind of break. As it is, we're going to be honours even again in this terrific last 4 matchup. It's punch and counter punch all the way.
Eight.
Third break of 80 or more. Had at least a half century in every frame.
81. $88. $89. 96.
A slightly awkward queuing shot, this, because it's one of these where you can't quite get the rest down because the cushion rail is there. Unusual set of circumstances that you've got the rest head on the rail. That's rare. Makes the pot difficult. But he's not missing much, is he?
Didn't touch the side, so we're on the cusp of our first century. Terrific stuff. Great entertainment for the crowd.
104.
Ronnie O'Sullivan and Anthony McGill still to come. What a day to have a ticket.
106. $109.
Wilson's 15th century of the season.
$113. $118. $124.
Fighting snooker from the Warrior, a superb break of 124 from Kyren Wilson, and this excellent semi-final is dead level again. It's 3 frames apiece in Barnsley. Players playing near the top of their games here, and they're combining to produce a really fine spectacle in the first English Open semi-final live from Barnsley. Kyren Wilson with an outstanding break of 124, launched by a brilliant long red to level once again. Six is the target now, of course, for a place in the final. And there's another cracker from long range from the Warrior.
Well, some of the long putting this week from Kyren Wilson is best I've seen from a player for a long time. These are all going in so accurately at such pace. I mean, it says 71%, but even then, there's something more to it than that. It's just the way that he's playing them.
And that's good in 6 frames. Close to 3 out of 4. Very, very good.
Yes, it's actually 5 out of 7, isn't it? There's the actual number, but it's such a big asset to your game when those are going in, getting in more, basically. Simple as that. Haven't got to be presented a great chance. Sometimes a half chance is all you need.
$5.
Well, the red at the bottom of the bunch, I think, goes, but I think he might be in a positive mood here to spread the reds all over the shop here. Wow. What an explosion of reds across the table that was.
10.
You're giving yourself every chance. Like ants swarming around the table, aren't they? $11.
Stephen Hendry, well known for pioneering that shot, and it was amazing how often Hendry was able to hit the very apex of the bunch of reds to get them spread in that manner. Go on to make one of his many century breaks from there. It feels as though the quality of Ursenbacher's play today has brought out the best in Wilson. He's responded. He's been inspired by that man's excellence when he's had the chances.
Eight.
Paying a lot of attention to his tip in the last half an hour or so.
Just like it's fraying slightly. I don't think it's anything any more damaging and worrying than that. Like a chipped tip. Just a bit of the tip fraying at the side.
25. $31.
Even that shot queuing over the red was very well struck. The point, it went a little bit too far for the pink, which I think is what he meant.
$37.
Very nice.
38.
Beautiful little cannon there. Doesn't catch it quite rightly. Hits it half ball. He's not on the black. Playing with superb confidence. It's been an absorbing match between these two, and partly due to this shot, Wilson might be about to strike the front for the first time.
Puts the fourth frame of this match into sharper focus, doesn't it, when Ursenbacher had the chance on the colours to pinch it for 3-1. Wilson delighted that he wasn't able to do so. Share the spoils at the mid-session break.
51.
Now poised to edge in front.
$52.
He's really hit form, hasn't he? He's essentially about to win what seems to be 2 frames without conceding a point. He's on a points without reply is totting up 184. Putting in some big numbers just to get himself in front in this match.
This is Wilson at his very best, isn't it? Frame ball coming up. Kind of form that won him the Shanghai Masters a couple of seasons ago in that thriller with Judd Trump, winning by the odd frame. Made the World Open final this season, although it has to be said he underperformed in the title match, well beaten by Ding Junhui. And he has had some disappointingly early exits in events this season to lower ranked players, but he's showing his quality here. at his best among the game's best.
Kyren Wilson, 75.
No follow-up century, but that was another superbly constructed break of 75. And for the first time in this semi-final, it's Kyren Wilson who leads by 4 frames to 3. Up and 3-2 up with 3 big breaks, but now, for the first time, behind as we head towards the business end of this semi-final. And it's going to be fascinating to see how Alex Ursenbacher responds to the blitz from Kyren Wilson. Breaks of 124 and 75. 2 great frames from the Warrior. Well, the crowd are thoroughly enjoying this, Neil. I mean, this is as good as it gets, really. Terrific match play snooker.
Yes, the Kyren's taking rather an extended comfort break here, isn't he? I don't know if he's trying to make his opponent think about the way the match is going, because Alex has been starved of any table time for quite some time now. Probably can't believe he's behind in this match. Kyren Wilson has moved up a level.
Thank you, frame 8.
Absorbing stuff, this.
Kyren Wilson.
Hasn't potted a ball for over 26 minutes now, the Swiss. And that's down to the quality of this man's snooker. So this is a big frame.
Well, there's confirmation of the point that Philip made. It's a long time, you know, to be watching your opponent pot balls. Feels like longer. Because when the chance comes, occasionally, the player will be a little cold. Let's see how he approaches this long red. That's a very fine shot. He's played ever so well in this tournament, and I guess thinking it yesterday that when you get down to just the 8 players who remain, they've been winning matches all around this Metrodome on different tables for 4 days. So everyone's going to be playing well. All the survivors, that is.
Yes, and Joe Johnson made the point ahead of this match that the key is to enjoy it if you possibly can. Of course, there's lots of pressure.
4.
Can be intimidating. Never reached anything like this far in a major event before, but all the signs are that Ursenbacher has done just that. He's embraced the occasion. He's just thoroughly enjoying the challenge of trying to beat one of the game's best players. Well, he held his hand up this time, and he'll be mighty relieved that he didn't achieve his primary goal there, which was to spread the Reds asunder.
Yeah, the Reds didn't move. He hit the pink half ball. Of course, missing the pot anyway. He's lucky that he did do that. No, surely not. He's not planted there, is there, somewhere? It's a multiple combination. If it is, he might be. Well, that one in the middle, it might be a plant. Tell you what, though, it's not easy. Very much with the cue ball up the table in mind, though. Very attacking shot, that. I mean, bringing any number of Reds out into the open. It's got to be careful on this safety shot. The red on the left cushion is hittable on the way back. And exactly what happened. Seemed to be in the way. Sometimes you see a shot and you think, well, he's just got to avoid one ball, and that ball, psychologically, looks even wider than it is, trying to get past it.
1.
Such an easy table as the last couple of frames where Kyren has really scored heavily. Even with black so close, it's hard to know exactly how scoring opportunity is going to come here.
Three. Four.
We might try and get the blue back in the game, back onto its spot. We've seen how good he is with the rest, but this is another difficult one. This time he's doing a bit more with the cue ball than previous ones. Yeah, he felt like he's taken on quite an extravagant shot there.
Kyren Wilson, 4. Alexander Ursenbacher, 5.
Neither of them have held back today, have they? Willing to take risks.
Now, in pulling this red, I wonder if he could just flick off the cushion the pink and beyond the black. It would be a fantastic shot, but it'd be a great chance. Oh, he's played it. No, he's not made the perfect connection with it. It was a full ball contact. He'd have been in behind this black. That was a good effort. I think he's having a look to see if it goes, looking from behind the shot, which is usually a pretty good guide. Oh, we've just seen that the blue actually goes. Goodness me, this is tough. Just goes. It was tight, wasn't it? I think it went, but he was right to look at it. But the trouble is, if he missed it, it was going to look terrible because the reds were all going to move, but it would have gone if he'd have hit it right.
Could be a very significant moment in the semi-final with the way Wilson's been queuing the last couple of frames. This is a very good chance to potentially put himself too clear. The first time either player will have achieved that. And within one of victory if he can do it.
One. Eight. Nine. $60.
I think he's over the top of this red here. They're just standing in onto the black into the same pocket.
70. $24. $25.
Well, I think Kyren Wilson's just looking the stronger. I don't think Alex Ursenbacher's done an awful lot wrong. He's a little unlucky in the long ready pot. He never quite got the cannon on the pink to stay on the black. So he went for that, as you saw, very tight blue, which was only just squeezed past the red. And really, if that's all you're doing wrong, you're not going too far out of your way.
$32.
That's the kind of match it's been. We're talking fine margins here. I mean, it's very, very tight. I think it went. He just flicked the red on the way through, and that's kind of why he's sitting down. It's just one mistake here or there, costing that player the frame. A lot of expectation on tonight's match. Ants McGill against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Understandably, that's the box office draw, but this match has been tremendous.
38.
Very high standard and enjoyable to commentate on.
Yeah, they've got something to live up to, haven't they? From 7 o'clock this evening.
$39.
Yeah. Well, he didn't want to be that close to his next colour. I think he can pot the brown, but he's right next to it. Frame's not over yet. 32 in front. 59 on the table. And when you're close to the ball you're trying to pot like this, the angle can be quite difficult to judge. Especially queuing down. This is not an easy shot. Got it.
Well, I don't know what he's apologising for, because that was an outstanding pot. He was a bit unlucky
43.
to land as close to the brown as he did. But he's cueing beautifully at the moment, isn't he? The last 2.5 frames, Wilson has played as well as I've seen him play.
Well, I think he played okay yesterday. You're right.
44.
This is very good, what I'm seeing here. It didn't necessarily show up in all the stats and the breaks, but against Ursenbacher, I thought he was pretty positive. And he finished up against Zhao Guodong with century, 97 break. So he's been in good form all season. Certainly all tournament. Reached a ranking tournament final earlier in the summer, losing to Ding Junhui in the final, World Open. 1 or 2 not so great results in qualifiers in and around it.
Every object ball pinging off the back of the leather, not touching the sides. Just playing with so much confidence right now.
Glance at the scores, frame ball.
Tremendous stuff this from Kyren Wilson, and a very significant burst of form in this semi-final from 3-2 behind. It's looking like 5-3 in front. Not a great deal that man could have done about it. So 49 the difference, 43 on, 2 snookers required. Yet another half century in this high quality encounter. And that is surely curtains for Ursenbacher in this 8th frame.
One.
A big task on his hands now.
Yes, certainly. But it's really
5.
jolted Kyren Wilson into action, isn't it? The way that his opponent played when he led by a couple of frames.
6.
You know, he had to raise his game. He's done so.
Ursenbacher has scored just 11 points since he took a 3-2 lead.
Kyren Wilson, 13. And the
Kyren Wilson's snooker has been irresistible. Breaks of 124, 75 and 56 in that frame to put him on the cusp of the English Open final. He leads the talented Swiss by 5 frames to 3. Has to win 3 straight frames against ranking titleist Kyren Wilson to make his first ever ranking final. And that is going to be a tall order because Wilson is playing some outstanding stuff. Breaks of 124, 75 and 56 for 3 straight frames. The only thing that seems to be concerning Kyren at the moment, Neil, is his tip. So much so that he tried to set fire to it.
Yep, and I've seen 1 or 2 players do that. I don't really understand it very much. I was always brought up to know that you only set fire to your cue usually when you've lost your match. You need to get a new one.
We still have the small matter of the rocket against the smiling assassin, Ronnie O'Sullivan and Anthony McGill from 6:45, live on Eurosport 1 and on Quest. Ursenbacher tapping the table there, but it was quite a handy kiss off the blue from Wilson to find the baulk cushion.
Might have been an element of sarcasm in that. I've seen players do that, you know. Saying that Alexander did that there, but players get a bit of luck, they tap the table. And he's played brilliantly. You mentioned his ranking. You know, it is 91, but that's because he's in free fall. He's whatever happens here, he's gone up 16 places on that.
Oh, what a pot again from Wilson. He just can't miss at the moment.
The speed of the shot. He thought he might run it in down into baulk, but not having any of that. I've been extremely impressed with Kyren Wilson here.
Quiet, please. Thank you.
Well, that was very inopportune. He was virtually on the backswing there, Kyren Wilson.
Yeah, someone said something in the audience. Very odd.
At the moment, it feels as though it's going to take something out of the ordinary to deny him. He's playing that well.
4.
Really is. Playing some exceptional snooker.
Well, playing this all round the table. 2 reds that pot to the right corner, I think, will be the plan to land on from the brown. got into it too much too much. Anyway, there's something for him.
9.
I don't think it's already played on, though.
He's looked so good with the rest today, hasn't he? Not remotely fazed by it.
60.
Yes, his primary aim here would be to get the red just above and to the right of the black. Get that out of play, pot it, and clear that into the table up so he can go on and win the frame at this visit. The red he'd love to be on. Until that red is cleared, it's not really a frame-winning chance.
22. #23.
Hashtag Home Nations, if you've got any questions for the Warrior, assuming he does complete the job in the next few minutes. We'll be speaking to Andy, Jimmy and Joe in the studio. If he does continue in this vein, I should imagine he will be highly delighted at what he's produced today against a very capable opponent who certainly posed some questions in the early stages. But of course, he's still got a bit to do. Ursenbacher hoping for another opportunity. Since he made that break of 89 to move back in front at 3-2, he's had precious few chances to alter the course of this match.
#36. #37.
He's cleared the decks away from the black now.
44. #45.
As you can see from that, the red certainly goes when the black is respotted.
The ninth frame of the match, and every single one of them has had at least a break of 50. In most cases, the breaks have been a good deal higher than that, but that's a measure of the standard of the snooker we've seen so far today. Fancy there'll be a few more tonight between Sullivan and McGill.
#53.
75 remaining. If this goes to plan, Wilson's going to be in the final.
Yeah, the red's a little bit awkward to get to with the pink where it is. But he used the pink quite well into them. Now, does the bottom red go?
58.
It certainly does. I think he's been absolutely outstanding this afternoon here, Kyren Wilson. Very high-class match snooker.
59.
He missed a ball right at the start of the first frame after the interval. Since then, it has been exemplary stuff. Irresistible snooker from the Warrior.
Yes, and I think we're done here. And Alexander
66.
Ursenbacher has played brilliantly all week. He's played well in this match. But there's a great deal he could have done about this. He's going to go home and beat
67.
semi-finalist, because that little punch of the fist tells you what you need to know. But Kyren Wilson has come through a pretty stern challenge here.
And I think Ursenbacher has a lot to do with the quality we've seen from Wilson today, because he dominated the first two frames, the Swiss, playing
75.
way above his ranking. Breaks of 64 and 84. Wilson very aware at that stage that he was going to have to produce something close to his best to win today, and that's precisely what he's been able to do. 4 straight frames of the very highest quality from
82.
him. Outstanding break building. He made a pretty
80.
modest 16 centuries in the whole of the last season, Kyren Wilson. He's made 15 already this season, and there's bags of snooker still to come. And he's on course for his second of the match here.
Ninth.
Shame. Caught the cushion a little too early. And the towel thrown in by Alexander Ursenbacher. What a tournament he's had, by the way. The future for him is extremely bright. But hats off to Kyren Wilson. That was a sensational performance, particularly in the last 4 frames, to come through in style and make the English Open final. He has beaten Alex Ursenbacher by 6 frames to 3 in a cracker.